So from watching my other videos, you have a little bit of familiarity with Pocket ISO and PopStation GUI. I'm going to show you an alternate method of ripping games such as Sega CD, Sega Saturn, PlayStation 1, even Dreamcast, that I used to use a good 10 years ago. This would be in the event that you have issues with Pocket ISO or PopStation GUI. And PopStation GUI could only be used for PlayStation 1 games anyway. So what I'm going to do is actually take a Sega CD game that I would like to play on the Mini, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to get that down to a good size. I'm going to use Daemon Tools, which is a great virtual hard drive program. And you could use Alcohol Soft as well, but this is a free Daemon Tools Lite. So I'm going to mount this actual image that I want to rip down. Lords of Thunder, which is actually 513 megabytes compressed, 566 megabytes uncompressed. That's far too big to put on the Mini, so I'm going to show you how I get it down in size. So I have it mounted, and when you have it mounted, you could actually play the audio right through Windows Media Player if you wanted to, like so. It's a great soundtrack. The TurboGrafx CD version is far superior to the Sega CD version, but that's not even going to matter as far as ripping this down in size anyway. Anyways, the next step would be going into the actual program that I'm going to use to rip these. I'm using an old program that is specifically made for TurboGrafx CD games called Turbo Rip, but you could actually make it work for other games, which I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm opening up the program. My virtual drive is the first on the list, so I'm actually going to just tap 1 and enter. It's going to say it's an invalid PC Engine TurboGrafx CD-ROM, but I'm going to bypass that with this little trick. I'm going to go into the directory of the game that I'm trying to rip, Lords of Thunder, and I'm simply going to type in the file name of the bin. And you'll see it's ripping all the tracks to WAV file. And I'm going to go into that and we'll see now I have an ISO that's only 6.9 megabytes in size that I could add to the Mini. And then I have all the audio tracks too. You could actually recombine these back into an ISO if you wanted to. But I'm just going to specifically add this particular game to actually right now. And I'm going to all files so it'll actually show up in the list. Just adding the ISO by itself. Now if you actually want to run Sega CD, you're going to have to actually use the Pico drive. You see right here where it says bin 32X, that's what you have to have so it actually detects it. So I'm going to change this ISO here to 32X. And that's all you have to do. Other than that, you have to actually have a BIOS module installed for it too. And I'll show you my setup for that. You have the BIOS template HMOD, and what you'd want to do is go all the way to the root directory. And these are all the BIOS I have for the various systems. Like I have 32X there, 7800, and there's 3 files for Sega CD. I have the European, Japanese, and the USA version right down here. Then I have the TurboGrafx CD BIOS. I have the Sega Saturn BIOS. These are the BIOS for CPS2, Neo Geo BIOS. Then I have my MSX BIOS and Atari Lynx BIOS. Then alternatively, if you want to actually play certain games that do not have audio in MAME, you'd make a subdirectory within the root. I did it for MAME 2003. Then you make a samples folder within there. Then in there you want to have the extracted files for these. If you tried putting them in zip format, you could actually get an error message on Hackshi. So games like Berserk, Congo Bongo, Donkey Kong, Galaga, Galaxian, and Phoenix do not have proper audio if you run them in MAME 2003. But if you run them in Final Burn Alpha, they'd actually run with the audio. I prefer MAME 2003 overall though. And I actually have my BIOS set up where I could actually run CPS2, Neo Geo, and most arcade games just using MAME 2003, just so I don't have to have 3 different cords installed.